Welcome back to Professional Wrestling, the podcast. We got him back, the guy with the golden medals. They're belts. Why would anybody call those medals? He's Van Landon, professional wrestler, all-around great guy, loves talking wrestling. Jonathan Hacohen, author of the Bible 3.0. Make sure to download it on Audible. Get over to Indigo, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and find out the 6 commandments of the chosen life and how to find your chosen life. And today, Van, we're going to be talking our chosen life because we're back on Professional Wrestling, the podcast. And man, a couple weeks ago, Monday Night Raw, they made us wait right till the end. But, you know, the QR codes and everything we're saying, it was coming on that Monday. Is Chad Gable dead? It looked like he took a bullet to the head.
It looked like multiple bullets were shot. I don't know what's going on, but you're right. Some spooky stuff went down to close out the end of Raw. Wyatt Sicks.
Wyatt Sicks or Wyatt Sick? Like, is it the 6? The Wyatt Sick? 6? The Wyatt Sick? What do we call them?
Wyatt 666? Are they evil? I mean, they're killing people backstage. What is going on? I'm not sure what to call them other than terrifying.
They are the Wyatt Six, I guess. Let's go with the Wyatt Six for now. Now, I had a great idea for this, which a lot of people are not on board for, but this whole Bray Wyatt passing thing, I said, let's make it a work and bring back Bray from the dead, but people are pretty stuck on the idea that he can't come back.
I mean, hey, stranger things have happened, but one thing for sure that I felt, and I know that Wyndham Rotunda's father, the great IRS, posted something similar, that when the Wyatt Sicks debuted, Wyatt Sicks, it was definitely the closest we have felt to having Bray Wyatt still with us.
Would it entirely shock you if Bray Wyatt's passing was a work and he was to appear as a 6th member? It turns out he's been fooling all of us. He's been in hiding. He's been camped out in Costa Rica. Would you be upset with him for invoking the emotions, or would you be thrilled? How would you react to that even?
I would eat my hat if he comes back with a nice tan from Costa Rica and says, hey guys, I'm the 6th member of my own faction. I wouldn't even know what to think. I wouldn't even know where to begin or how to react, like, emotionally. I would feel for everyone who got the RIP tattoos, but at the same time, that would just be insane. Insane.
I'm pretty sure Elvis is more likely to be alive right now than Bray, unfortunately, in this day and age. And so, on that note, last we saw of Uncle Howdy, as you recall, that god-awful Mountain Dew match.
Was that the last time?
That was last time we saw Uncle Howdy. So we had LA Knight in a feud with Bray Wyatt, right? Last time we saw them on any kind of TV, they had their pay-per-view, I think it was in SummerSlam, if I'm not mistaken. And they had the Mountain Dew match, which nobody understood why it's a dark match, but it's not lights off. It was so confusing to me on so levels. It's basically just promoting Mountain Dew the whole time. And since then, they have Slim Jim matches. But that one was, I would say, one of the worst, one of the horriblest matches I ever watched. And Uncle Howdy botched the drop. I thought Uncle Howdy's gone. I'm actually, after watching the documentary, after watching the interviews, I did not even realize how much Bo Dallas looks like Bray Wyatt. He does. It's so uncanny. And I'm thrilled to pieces that he was going to be coming back regardless. But you know what? In honor of Bray, in honor of the concept, I think Bray would have really endorsed this to say, use the same people that I used for my people. Let's bring it stronger than ever. I don't think this is pissing on Bray's legacy. I think Bray would be thrilled to pieces that Bo Dallas is come back as Uncle Howdy and making this happen.
Absolutely. To live the legacy on, I was showing that clip of the Wyatt Sicks debut to some non-wrestling fans just to see how they reacted. Of course, it crosses over the line of horror in terms of like how they shot it, how it was directed. And yeah, their reaction to it is naturally scared. Like, this is terrible. This is creepy. This is unsettling. And that's everything that Bray Wyatt ever was. I remember the first time the Wyatt family debuted on Raw back in 2013. I was watching it live as it happened, and I was unsettled. I was creeped out by it. I was hooked and a fan of Bray Wyatt and all three of those guys ever since. The closest that we are going to get to Bray Wyatt now is going to be lived on through his brother, through Bo Dallas, and I thought they are doing a fantastic job to kick it off.
For the amount that they've been promoting this and the amount of anticipation, and we've been speculating on this for so long, even during when Bray was alive, I think they hit it out of the park. I think they did as good of a job as they could. To be quite frank, I was not thrilled with how they brought back Bray the last time around. It was a very slow burn. He went on SmackDown, kind of rambled about a bunch of stuff. Nothing ever happened. I know they're building up to something, but I just don't think it got executed well, and that's unfortunate. I think they learned from that. I think they've taken that energy. It's gonna work. Now, one of the first things is I counted 5 people out there, but it's the Wyatt Sicks. So, is it in honor of Bray as a 6th member, or is it Alexa Bliss coming back?
Ooh. I mean, I think both of those possibilities can and should happen. Definitely honor Bray, just even in the name itself is going to honor him. But to have Alexa Bliss come back, and of course the history between The Fiend and Alexa, and all the stuff that she went through with that, I mean, even more so than Uncle Howdy, Alexa was connected with Bray. I mean, you could argue that Eric Rowan, Braun Strowman, both of them make good candidates to possibly be, the 6th member. But Alexa Bliss has that history, and I think it's already sort of writing itself in that regard.
You got to have 2 females in it. They're going to be a tag team together. It's just powers and numbers. It makes sense, pairing her up with Nikki Cross. I like Nikki Cross's look in this. Look at Nikki Cross, Dexter Lumis, Joe Gacy. Man, imagine Joe Gacy and what is crazy man thing on NXT. And they're like, so, Joe, we got a pitch for you. Yes. Don't you want to hear it first? Don't care. You're coming to WWE? Yes. No, Joe, you got to listen. You're going to join Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Sicks. He was like Homer Simpson doing the chicken dance and rolling around in circles. Like, man, you can't give Joe Gacy a better gimmick given where he was at, and it flows in perfectly. Same thing with Nikki Cross, that she was losing her marbles, Dexter Lumis. So now I got a difficult question because I'm kind of tracing steps here. Were they planting seeds this whole time, planning to put them in the Wyatt Sicks, or was this sheer coincidence, Van Landon?
Oh boy, I mean, wrestling's all known for its long-term storylines. Wrestling's known for long-term storylines, but I really think that we have fallen under the perfect storm of circumstances. Like you mentioned, what's a schism? That's Joe Gacy.
Dexter. Wait, a learning tree or a schism? Sorry.
I see. Yeah, there we go. And then Dexter Lumis. He's psychotic and has been since he was Sam Shaw in TNA. Nikki Cross. Anyone remember Sanity? Yep. And then you got the big Eric Rowan, who is real, other than Braun Strowman, the last living original Wyatt family member. It just makes sense. It's a perfect storm of evil. And hey, I think that's exactly what we're going to see take place.
I'm worried, though, Van Landon. I'm worried greatly. Because what WWE giveth, WWE taketh. And if it doesn't go immediately... Do you remember a little group called Retribution?
I try to forget. Shout out Mustafa Ali.
Or Ali, or as they called him at the time. But Retribution was heavily pumped up at the time, right? Retribution should have worked. It clearly didn't work at the end. Question number 1. Why did Retribution not work in your estimation?
Because they were being presented as sort of the anti-authority, the destroy the arena in the Thunderdome, of course, against authority. And then the next week, I'm pretty sure they got drafted to Raw. Like, oh, Nick Aldis or Adam Pearce is just like, oh yeah, let's draft the guys who are destroying the shows and stuff. And the fans just are like, what is this? Wait, these guys are all wearing masks now? What's Dijak doing wearing a shredder mask? And what are these guys doing? It was just doomed from the start when things got hokey with it. And back then during that era, it was still the Vince creative era. And what Vince said goes, no matter what. And so maybe that led to some creative redirections, perhaps day of, perhaps moments before, perhaps we don't know. But I definitely think old Retribution, you know, they aren't the Shield, they aren't the Nexus, they're not Evolution. They were trying to be, and unfortunately fell on their face doing so.
And this is where I'm cautioning the Wyatt Sicks, do not become Retribution. I can see, look, we had the Bloodline. We still kind of got the Bloodline. We're going to have a Bloodline war coming. We know that's coming. Great. You brought up a faction off the air that is in dire straits currently, and we need to find something to pump up Monday Night Raw. And would you like to touch upon that faction, and who do you think is going to, they're going to supplement it now by Wyatt Sicks?
Ooh, the Judgment Day. Everybody's favorite little group for the past year and a bit.
Dom.
It's been Dom, it's been Rhea, it's been Finn, it's been Priest. Even throw R-Truth and JD McDonough in there because they are the supporting cast for them.
Carlito's lingering, kind of, sort of.
And it's like, okay, you got Priest in the main event, you got Rhea off TV, you got Dom, who whatever Dom touches turns to gold. His storylines continue to be money. And then you got Finn, who can do whatever you want. Just like an AJ Styles, you could put him wherever, whenever, and he delivers. The Judgment Day, they've lost their aura. They've lost their mystique. You know, they used to be spooky. They used to be sort of emo. Now you got people getting killed backstage by the Wyatt Sicks. I think the Judgment Day, it's not that your time's done. It's that you guys did it. You did it to the best of your ability. And now it's time for them to move on to bigger and better things.
So can we see a Survivor Series type match, War Games, Judgment Day versus Wyatt Sicks?
Hey, I'm all in on that. Even throw perhaps Rhea Ripley, Nikki Cross in there. Have some intergender War Game style of a match. That's never been done. You have the heavy hitters. And by that point, by November, I don't think Damian Priest is going to be our world heavyweight champion still.
I don't know if he is right now. Like it could be literally any day. But I could see the Wyatt Sicks coming to the ring, and they're going to start off, and they're going to have a fake head of JD McDonough making fun of the giant the giant head, right? Like bobblehead style. And he's going to be their first victim. He is going to be found in Gorilla with a bullet wound in his head. I think JD, they're going to pick him off one by one by one. I think we got ourselves a feud here.
Hey, I'm in on that.
So now I got to ask you, because you kind of touched upon it. So it's been killing me for the last 2-3 weeks. What did Finn Balor do with the hotel key that he picked off the table so sly that Liv Morgan left for Dom? Did Finn go to the hotel?
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes because Finn, hey, he's Irish. Well, you know, he's a wild man. He's painted his body. He's done some crazy stuff in Japan. But I'll tell you one thing. Finn, he's not looking for a decent time. That's what I'm looking at. I think he did. I think he went 100%.
So what we're going to do like this is you're going to have Liv is going to continue to woo Dom. She's going to win him over. And then finally, when they get together in the ring and going to go for their first kiss, all of a sudden, the hidden source is going to show the hidden camera, and we're going to watch Finn go into the hotel room, and we're going to have a Finn Balor, Dom Mysterio war. Boom, breaking up the Judgment Day. There we go.
There it is.
There it is.
Writes itself.
Done.
Dom, Rhea, Liv, Finn. Hey, it can happen. I'm in on that.
Well, Rhea's going to come back at some point. She is not going to be pleased. Rhea is out. Priest is out. We already agreed the Wyatt Sicks is going to kill McDonough. And Finn versus Dom. I mean, this is the classic recipe. When you're going to break up a faction, you need them to face one another. Like the Usos when they broke up as a tag team, right? And what is the best way to do a fight? It's over a girl, over a lady. So live. Now Liv's going to deny all she wants, obviously. No, Finn came, I kicked him out, blah, blah. They're not actually going to show Finn and Liv together, but you're going to see him use the key card, walk into the room. They're going to show Liv. She's going to look at him for 1 second, and they're going to cut it. So you're not going to know what actually happened. And then the footage will come out that Liv kicked him out. But the damage will have been done.
The damage will be done, and there will be no more Judgment Day.
By Judgment Day. So Dom Mysterio, I know he's the most heavily booed guy. Van, I'm really feeling like Dom is not getting his proper credit. He's actually great in the ring. He's a workhorse. He was one of the most heavily used athletes in WWE the past year before his injury. I think it's time for Dom to kind of break away. Maybe he's going to go over to Legado del Fantasma because he has to go back to his Spanish roots. But I think he needs to break away and be his own man, so to speak. I'm feeling at this point, hanging out with JD McDonough and being the jobber tag team, this is not where Dom wants to be in life. No way.
Not at all. And I think Dom needs some gold. Like me right now, I think Dom needs some gold. And what better way for Dom to get elevated and more so into the mainstream stratosphere? Because he is, as you mentioned, he is that workhorse already. And the wrestling fans know that. Let's have him beat Logan Paul. That would be the match for him. The marquee, the homegrown star versus the YouTube star for a title. You can give it to Dom, elevate him from there. That's what I'm seeing happening.
Who do we have? Do we have at this time of taping? Do we know any of the Money Bank winners yet?
I don't know.
Not from the men's side. No, I can't think off the top of my head because one of the things I thought you were going to go with here was you really want to break up Judgment Day and make it interesting. How about Liv Morgan as the champion and Dom fight Damian? Dom take the belt off Damian for a short while. They are dual champs together. That could be a little fun for a little while.
Hey, I could see that. And you're right. We don't know who's won Money in the Bank just yet. But if Dom Mysterio, Dirty Dom, were to snake the briefcase and cash it in on the man who won the title with the briefcase, I think that's poetic.
Now, Dom wins the belt, and people are at ringside when he defends the belt afterwards, and ends up happening his dad is in ringside. Dom grows a conscience, goes to save his dad, ends up costing him the belt, but we reunite the Mysterios, not as a tag team, but Dom turns face because he cared about his dad and he realized he did wrong. And now he was the champion. He took it off Priest. Dom is moving up to the upper echelon at this point. And we move into, because Dom, the heel, is kind of turning a little stale here at some point. So I'm thinking, you know what? Dom the face for a little while, but the new Dom as the face versus when he originally came, that could work for a bit.
That could work. And especially the embrace of Ray and Dom once again. I don't think there will be a bigger moment than that. That needs to take place at a Mania, at a SummerSlam, at a Survivor Series, a big moment show for the re-embrace of those two. Because after all they've gone through, that is a moment.
And the Rey Mysterio retirement match will come at a WrestleMania. They reunited with Dom, and he'll go out with his son and hand him over the keys to the kingdom. That's how I want to see Rey go out.
That's how I want to see Rey go out. Absolutely.
My only question to you is, why are we not getting jobs as WWE writers? We are giving them so much golden material. They should be using all of this.
And to think they could get us on a deal, the Canadian dollar is so worse compared to the U.S. If they just hire us, let us work remotely up here, we don't have to drive down to Stamford each day. What? Come on, you guys.
Pay us $500K each in Canadian dollars.
Yeah, that's what, like $100,000 for them?
If that. And we got so many storylines going for them. But this goes to show you, one of the things I knew near the end of the Vince era, when you're hiring professional TV writers, reality shows, soap operas, wherever they brought them from, and they're writing your plot lines versus actual wrestling knowledgeable people. Was part of the issue. We're not running Survivor here. We're not running Big Brother. We're running WWE. Stop trying to turn this into a reality show. Let's get back to wrestling.
And the best storylines are written in reality, but exactly that. It doesn't have to be hokey, Big Brother, head of household storylines type of thing. Go back to your point from earlier in this podcast, Finn and Dom fighting over Liv. Stories are that simple, ladies and gentlemen. They're that simple. It does not need to be, he said, she said this and that, and scan the QR code and see this thing on TikTok. And while there are the people that are going to go that extra mile to seek those things out, those theorists, if you will, wrestling is as easy as, you stole my girlfriend, I want to fight you now. That's it.
You do notice WWE starting to get a little more edgy, right? They're cursing now. They're bringing more adult theme type.
A little bit of blood.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think what we're doing here, Van, if I had to predict, they are preparing us for what's going to happen on Netflix, because I'm not going to say we're going to go back to the Attitude Era, but I think it ain't going to be a PG rating on Netflix when it comes out in 2025.
I'm all in on that. Let's see it.
Well, let's get going. And as we end today's episode, I'm going to ask you one last question, because, again, we brought this up before. People are still saying it's not going to happen, but you mentioned last week about the Forbidden Door. It's been marinating in my mind for a week. My friend, are we going to live to see a time where we have a Forbidden Door AEW WWE?
I think so. I don't think it's 2025. I don't think it's 2026. I don't think it's 2027. But I do think there is a point in this decade where they work together. The same way that AEW works with New Japan, the same way we're now seeing WWE work with TNA. Collaboration over competition, and especially whether it's on Netflix, whether it's on basic cable, whether it's on a network, I think it will happen.
I can't see how it doesn't happen, to be honest, because they do mention each other enough. But in my opinion, and to be fair to AEW, it's going to be WWE controlled the whole way. WWE controls the venue, control the matches. It's all going to be about WWE. AEW is going to be tagging along, and that's not a bad thing for AEW whatsoever. You give me a Swerve Strickland versus Cody Rhodes, yes, please, all day long. Give me Cody versus MJF because of all the history. Yes, please. We can make things happen here. We can have the Elite going up against whatever tag team you want to throw out from WWE. But these kind of dream matches, these dream scenarios, you're going to host a pay-per-view like that. I'm going to tell you right now, that stadium is sold out, guaranteed. And the numbers are going to be through the roof. Forbidden Door, WWE, AEW.
Absolutely.
Join us back next week. This is Professional Wrestling, where we create storylines for all the federations. We expand on the world of wrestling. You never know what we're going to talk about next. He's going to be back for another week. It's Van Landon, Jonathan Hacohen. See you back real soon. Professional Wrestling, the podcast.